You are watching episode number 1 of Little Black Dots, and I am your host, Jonathan. I think it's safe to assume we all want a little recognition for our work. We create social media accounts on multiple platforms to share our experiences and our passions. Some might say this is an unhealthy means of self-expression, where people go a little too far. Others will say that consistency is a sign of ambition. Again, we can assume that most of us would all like to be recognized and encouraged through a cyber pat on the back, if you will. But what if you did not? What if you aren't seeking what's to be gained from social media, and this is just an outlet? What if this social experiment is just a means to express oneself in an authentic way? More than ever, I think this is what we all seek. To be honest and true and recognized. And those who are obscure can't help but be noticed somewhere along their path. Which leads me to introduce you all to our first guest on this show, DJ Birdsong. DJ Birdsong was born in Santa Rosa, California, and 7 years ago, he decided to begin his YouTube journey with zero expectations of what he wanted to gain from the experience. He simply wanted to share his music. I believe he called it his musical diary. And today, I get the opportunity to speak with one of the humblest musical geniuses that I know. DJ Birdsong, thank you for joining. But before he joins, let's listen to a little bit of music and then jump right into it.
One day my mother told me, go where there's money and fall in love, my sweet honey. Don't ever cut your hair. Keep playing music, it's not yours, cause you can use it. Oh, listen to me.
What's it okay, Mom? What do you want me to do?
She said, my sweet child, I want you to do you.
Okay.
But do what you wanna do. Get in place what people want.
Got it.
Get it where you fit in. Okay, listen to me.
A bad case of cancer.
So this is
12 feet of
nice,
dirt.
whatever.
Couldn't stop my mother's words from rattling in my brain. So every morning when I wake up, I think about what she said to that young pup, which is me. Do what you wanna do. Listen to me.
One day my mother told me, go where there's money and fall in love, my sweet honey. Don't ever cut your hair.
If they want to listen to more of that, they have to go to your channel. How's it going, DJ Birdsong? How you doing?
Man, I'm good. Jonathan Music, I'm honored. Fucking genius. That's funny. I wish my elementary school teachers could hear you say that. That's nice, man. I appreciate the accolades. I'm happy to be here. And, well, I never thought anything would come from the music, nor did I have expectations. But this is happening, so here we are.
Here we
Hello.
are. What do you say we get right into it?
Let's jump.
All right, so let's start at the beginning. Tell us what it was like growing up in Santa Rosa. Let's start from the beginning.
I was born in Santa Rosa, California, 1978, Aries. I was adopted, pretty quick after being born by a lovely pair of people. Seventh-day Adventists, kind of an obscure religion. Lots of times I say, oh, I was raised Seventh-day Adventist. They're like, weren't you guys like in that cult? And I'm like, well, that's some other people were, it was, I grew up I was born in Santa Rosa and mainly grew up in the Healdsburg area as a little kid. I remember not having to wear a shirt or shoes for, 3 weeks at a time. I would boot open my front door, hop on an ATC, a horse, or a bicycle, and just Seventh-day Adventist neighborhood, everything was safe. You could do whatever you wanted to. It was before cell phones, but open doors everywhere, a bunch of kids running around wild, and it was amazing. It was an amazing place.
What did you do? What did you kids do, I guess, during that time? Okay. Did you play sports? What did you do growing up in school and high school?
Okay, so that was, Rio Lindo was just being a little kid running around, kind of just all nature. High school, I was like non-existent. I never cared about like education. I couldn't sit down in class, couldn't sit down in school. I got like ADHD, the dyslexia or whatever. But I've convinced myself that there's nothing wrong with me. I just move faster. It can be a disability, at times, but other times it's like a superpower. So high school was tough for me. It was mainly smoking a bunch of pot. I got teased a lot because I was really skinny and kind of a goofball. But as a side effect of that, I kind of learned how to fight. I got tough pretty quick. You get beat up a few times, and then you get that crying, crazy little kid rage. You whoop someone's ass, and everyone's like, "Oh, I don't mess with them that much." So it was interesting, growing up and that was in St. Helena, California, a very small town. I was the only person that I knew in the entire surrounding area with like any black descent in them, so that was kind of weird. There was a lot of Mexican dudes, a lot of white kids, 0 Asians, 0 anybody else, and then there was me, like kind of didn't fit in. So high school was tough, and but I realized I liked my music in high school. Like there's the one class that I gave a crap about was like band class, which was kind of made me more of a dork. But yeah, school has never been something I've been good at all. The reading and the writing ain't for me. But to those of you who pursue scholastic, shit, that's good for you.
Well, let me ask you a question. So, okay, so you're growing up in Santa Rosa, and you were a little different. I guess maybe you felt a little different. Maybe people made you feel a little different. Better said. What about your family? What was that like? Tell me about your family.
Well, my family, I was adopted, like I said, and like I said, I'm the darkest person in my family. We got blonde, blue eyes, and literally, you talk about being a black sheep. You see family pictures, and there's me with an afro. You're like, I've had people come in the house and try to like, do this on the, what is that? And I'm like, that's me. It's a dot on the picture. So feeling different, it's like I was different. I was always a nut. Like everybody would be concerned, all the kids my age doing this thing and doing this and that. And I swear to God, all the time I was over by myself, like, hey guys, check this out. It's a different view of things. And like I said, that can hurt and or help you. But and I got that from my grandmother. Plug Zulfa Keatley Snyder. It's my grandmother. She's famous. Check out her books. But she lived in a world of pure fantasy, and I realized, I'm a little bit older, but I'm kind of like her. So always daydreaming, always off in my head, always thinking about something else. So Keatley Snyder, book plug. That's right. Just I've always been an oddball.
One of our audience members says that it seems like you're rebellious. Is that a true statement about you, or did things just kind of?
I think after a certain time, I kind of had to become like rebellious. Like I was the only brown guy around. Raised by people that are doing their best. But it's like cultural things play a big part in our life. And I didn't realize I was black until later. And it's like I got teased a lot because I was a different race. So it's like rebellious. I guess, yeah, I'd say that's a true statement because I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid. I think one of the worst things you can do in life is try to convince somebody of something for your own like reasons. Like I will rebel against like stuff that I feel is like pressing on me, but I'm not trying to be a rebel. I like the same things everybody else likes. I enjoy puppies, fried chicken, Coca-Cola, going swimming. I'm just a regular dude with lots of tattoos, I suppose.
What's your family like? Tell me about your family.
Do
you have brothers and sisters?
I do. I have an older brother, and I have a younger sister. I'm the middle kid. My brother's adopted, but you can't tell by looking at him. He fits in the picture frame a little better. My sister's very successful. My brother's kind of a rough case, but people know who I am most likely. I don't want to say too much about my interpersonal family goings on. But, you know, I've realized that there's levels to shit. There's levels to everything. I've hung out with people's families where it just seems so great and so nice. They're all like, every Friday they hang out and they play bocce ball together, and so makes their favorite this. And I mean, I'm like, wow, this is great. We don't get a lot of that in my family. It's kind of, and it's like, and we're going to do this 1, 2, 3 break. And everybody goes their separate ways. So, you know, the family life is tough, but you know, it's good and it's bad, but nobody's perfect. I know that, you know, everywhere you go, we all have something that bugs us. There's always room for improvement. There's always that person you can't seem to get along with, even though, you know, family, you have to get along with them. People that you meet, you're free to disregard and walk away from, but family, you know, I feel like you got to stick in there. Even if you don't like them, you got to love them, type of thing. So yeah, you know, that's where I'm at with it. I love my family dearly, even though I'm adopted. I've shared no blood relation. But, you know, blood is thicker than water, and honor is a real thing. And, you know, a sense of duty, a sense of purpose. For me, that's family. And, you know, I'll talk bad about them all day, but let somebody else do it. We got a problem, you know.
Hey, so how do you think adoption played into your development?
I think adoption plays a big part into your development, because as a kid, it's like you're different. Like everybody else shares, like, hereditary traits. You ever hear someone say, oh, you look just like your grandpa, or, oh, you know, grandpa used to rattle his nuts like this, you know, and you do that too. It's hereditary. You are like your family. That's what makes you who you are, is your connection with your family. You know, you see this stuff and it's like, wow, I'm just like you. You don't get that when you're adopted. You're not like your family. You're not like anybody you know. You're completely different. And I kind of got, you know, generally in life, the nail that sticks up is the one that gets hammered down, and that can be tough to deal with, and that's kind of a thing adoption brings up. If you look like everybody that you're been adopted by, that's a leg up, but you still share no blood relation. So that was tough. You know, I remember looking up at my dad and saying, you know, is there someone else in the picture? We're getting ready for church, and I'm putting on a clip-on tie. And he looks at me and goes, well, the stork brought you to us. You know, it's time for that conversation. And I remember, like, I always knew, and I, like, wrapped my head around that. And I was like, so there's, like, I have a real mom and a real dad. And it's like, oh, shit. And, you know, I didn't go through all that. And then, you know, I found my birth mother. I found my birth father. They both passed away a few years after I met each one of them. Wink, wink. But, you know, there's a good reason why I was adopted. I was better off with these kind, loving, Christian, hardworking people than my mother and father, who were like, you know, my dad was a very feared, kind of crazy individual. There's allegations of crime and all this stuff. So I got taken out of a bad situation. I'm forever grateful for that, you know. But, you know, I didn't hear rap music till I was 12 years old, and I should have been listening to that shit all along. So I was like, so it's just different, you know. It's like if you do adopt a kid and they're Asian, I think it's important that you would, like, show them their culture, or any race, you know. Mexican kid, but you can't, you know, it's like you can't raise a dog like a cat. Not to say that we're all that different, you know, but there.
Well, sorry to interject, but I want you to go a little further into that. So you were raised into a family. How were they able to deal with, or do you feel they were able to help you with discovering your cultural identity, or do you feel like that was an area?
Very ultra best, and they're sweet, loving, kind people, but it's like, you know, you've literally gotten this child from two wild ass crazy people, you know, and then you adopt them into your life, which is not like that, you know. And it's like, you know, the blood's in the soil, just like how you look like grandpa and you rattle your nuts like auntie so and so. I'm like my dad a little bit, and I'm like my mom a little bit. And so it was, they did the very best that they could. I went on a youth trip to Mexico with a bunch of black kids from Vallejo at 16. They all beat the shit out of me because I'm whitewashed. I was like, hello, Negroes, hello. You know, it didn't go over well because I wasn't black enough for them. And then, you know, being raised, like, you know, so I'm a different dude. I'm a different dude. And it's like, you know, race isn't important. It doesn't matter. We're getting into it. You know, I love everybody. But, you know, it's just, you take someone out of their element, you have to remember that it's like still naturally that person has an affinity for these things that are in their blood. You know, like you were probably a little born musician when you were little. You know, you're banging on tap and playing on stuff. It's like, you better get that man a guitar. You know, you got to enrich the things that you see in people. And when you adopt a child, it's easy to enrich other people in the things that you already like because they're like you. But, you know, so they did their very best, and I love my parents dearly, and I take care of them to this day. But, you know, cultural differences do play a part, when I say, when you adopt a child. Yeah.
You take care of them to this day?
To this day, my father has the Parkinson's, lives right next door there. You know, he can't really walk, can't drive. You know, mom's an elderly woman, so I don't expect her to do too much. You know, so yeah, they took great care of me, and I was a bad kid. So all these factors, and I was rebellious as a child because I felt like, you know, people didn't understand me. It was so hard. I was musically gifted when I was a little kid, but I couldn't sit through a music lesson. You know, people were just, it was just a lot of frustration on, I think, my little kid part and my parents. They're like, how do you rope this little guy in? You know, like fire a dart in my neck or hit me with a net gun or something. But I was all over the walls. You know, where black parents would probably just slap you in your fucking mouth, put you down. You know, black people know how to deal with black children. Sit your fucking ass down. Ain't nobody talking like that. So it's good, dude. Like, I had a good childhood, as good as it could be. You know, like I never wanted for anything. I had everything I needed, and then also a bunch of stuff I wanted too. Even though I was a bad kid. You still see me, or am I sideways?
You're a little sideways, but I can definitely see you. So sounds like some challenges and things to overcome. Does that play into the music? How you, and you mentioned being kind of having these natural tendencies towards music, but not being able to take a music lesson. So how did this all come about? Where did you find yourself in music and liking music and wanting to pursue it, or at least dabble?
For the moment when music like touched my little soul, I must have been 5 or 6. And my mom is a pianist. She can read and play music fluently. You know, she's a very good pianist and singer. My adopted mother. And I remember she played that song from Cats on the piano and sang it, Memories. I'm sure you've heard of it. I can't listen to that in the mall. I can't hear it at Denny's. I can't, like, I'm just like, I came down wrapped in a towel and just sat by the piano and swayed back and forth and sang that shit with tears rolling out of my eyes. My mom looks down and says, well, somebody likes music, you know. And, yeah, I didn't realize till then, like, how powerful music could be and, like, touch you. When I hear good music, I get shivers up the back of my neck. I can hear a song, like I said, to this day that'll put a lump in my throat. So it's a powerful, powerful thing. And that's what I use to, like, that's my happy place. Whether I'm happy or I'm sad, I'm going to make some music. Because it, like I said, it's a musical diary. It writes it down. It saves it. I put it on YouTube. And, you know, hopefully when I'm 70 years old, I can look back and watch these videos and I will, like, totally remember everything, you know, lest I forget. And it's also got a beat to it. So, hey.
Yeah, it needs the beat. So your mom must have been then maybe your first musical inspiration.
I would have to say I've credited her with that. My adopted mom was definitely my first musical inspiration because she always played piano in the house. She said when I was little, they'd always have to peel me off the damn thing. I'd go over there and flip the top off, push the thing over, be like, bang, 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 bang. They're like, okay, get him off the piano. So, yeah, if it wasn't for that piano in the house, I mean, I don't know if I would be able to carry a tune in a bucket. I feel like I still struggle.
The struggle is real, right?
The struggle.
Especially when you're never quite as good as you want to be, I think. Or it never sounds the way, never really
quite
what it sounds like. But anyhow, so, okay, your mom, and who else? I mean, what else were you listening to? I mean, what were they listening to where you grew up?
Okay, well then, so you realize you like music, and you're like, wow, I like music now. You know, I love music. But, you know, I didn't hear rap, like I said, until I was like a teenager. I lived in a Seventh-day Adventist, kind of very secluded. We'd have internet, you know, like sometimes someone like, some dude got a hold of a Body Count record. We still had records. Remember Body Count with Ice-T, Cop Killer, that album? I was like, you can do that? Are you allowed to do that? You know, I heard that shit, and then that got me on, you know, I really like rock. when I was little. I was all about rock. And then, Too Short. Oh my God. Public Enemy, Anthrax, dude, Nirvana, Nuclear Rabbit, Pantera, Skid Row. Bon Jovi was even sick for a time when I was little. That Bon Jovi Slippery When Wet. Tell me you didn't mess with Slippery When Wet.
Yeah, I'm familiar with that. Yeah.
Familiar with it. Everybody heard. You couldn't go anywhere without hearing it. So, I basically just, got my hands on anything I could get. I also love classical music. I love like all sorts of classical music. I'll listen to that shit for hours.
Well, that's interesting because, I've listened to your music in depth, and it's hard to put my finger on what exactly it is. It's 100% you. Absolutely. When I'm listening to it, I'm like, okay, this is DJ Birdsong. But, from one track to the next, I mean, it's electronic, it's rock and roll, you're singing, you're sampling, you're playing instruments on your on synthesizers. I mean, it's all over the place, man. So how would you express to us, how would you describe yourself to us in terms of your music, like as an artist? How can you, or how do you?
I've thought about it. Yeah, it's like nuts and gum. Nuts and gum. I like don't even okay, to toot my own horn. The cool thing I like about me is that I don't really have a choice with this shit. I will sit down. Here I got my thing open right now. Here's how I make music. See, I've got a little drum pad here. Got a little hi hat here. Got a little kick here. See? And I can play the drums on an iPad, right? You can do that, and then you can do a keyboard. Then you can sample with it. You can lock in beats. I can plug instruments into this thing. So it's just freaking versatile. And, my pinky is too short for guitar. See that? That's not going to work. It needs to be up there. Right? I never sat down. I can play drums, but, I got on here and I'm like, oh, wait, so you can program everything? Really open things up for me. So, this is my instrument, is an iPad. And, to describe my music, I'm like, dude, I'll use any damn thing I can get my hands on. There's Mexican banda spun into some of my shit. You can't hear it. It's all like in the background, whatever it is. And I think that's what's powerful about music is that it's in the ear of the beholder. I love going through YouTube and looking up obscure people. That's how I found you. And I'm like, this guy, dude, you're probably one of the best guitarists I've ever personally known. Personally, I know Joe Satriani's good, but I don't hang out with him. And it's, there you are. And, there I am. And we, I think at the time you had like 16 or 70. It was less than 100 followers. I think I had like 6. And you and me linked up. And we started talking, asking each other questions. There was a period in time where you and me were like, I could see what's going on. We're like rapid firing songs at each other. I was like, oh yeah, John, check this out. You're like, oh, you like that? Well, check this out. It's universal. So anybody can make music. And I think anything can be enjoyable if you enjoy it. And I'm just happy that, people give a shit about my music, which they don't. It's been years and years and years, getting reviews. But, how I feel about it is, well, here it is. If you want to look at it, go ahead. It's like anything else in life. You can walk by it or you can check it out in depth or anywhere in between. Music gives you that option. Here it is. What do you want to do with it?
So walk me through your creative process when you write. Like, what does that look like?
Pretty much it.
So Apple Juice
roll
and
an iPad, roll up a crispy doobie, get a nice cold beer, and whatever is on my mind literally will just spill out. Like I said, I don't really have a choice with it. I can force myself to make songs on request. Someone's like, make me a song about this. I'm like, I'm dying inside. I'd rather just lay it all out. One take is best for me. Like I would say 3/4 of my songs have one take. There's ones that have 3, the letter 3 or the letter 2 behind them, or a 1, and that is obviously a second take. But I'm like, fuck it. Sid Barrett never did second takes. You know who Sid Barrett is? The lead of Pink Floyd. Good luck getting that man to do the same thing twice. He'll write the Octopus Ride, that whole song. That whole damn album, he just like farted out. And they're like, all right, second take. He's like, I can't do it again. That was it. That was that moment. So recording music is great because music is just like moments. Like the most beautiful music I've ever heard sometimes has just been out of someone's window, some dude playing the thing at a bonfire, some random dude on YouTube. And if you blink, you might miss it, but it's out there. And seems to be endless. Music seems to be endless. So I love it for that.
What has been your biggest challenge, and how have you overcome it as an artist?
As an artist, I don't even feel like I've had any, because it's like my shit sucks. I'm like, bro, I suck. Like I don't care. I don't have any expectations. I don't really care. Like I told you before we got on here, I was like, I decided a while ago, do I really want to put myself on the internet and show people the crazy shit that's in my head, these little silly songs I make, when I know there's people that are so much fucking better, right? And I got reminded of an old African proverb: if you can talk, you can sing. If you can walk, you can run. Who's for anybody else to say? My shit. You're welcome to check it out. And just like your shit, I can say it sucks too, no matter how popular you are. And for me, a lot of the popular music to me just sucks. I can't listen to top 10, obviously, because I'm over 40. Pop, country has turned into this hip hop country bastardization of both things. Rap and country, bro. I'm like, I've seen it all. So it's funny, I consider myself a purist. I don't like fusion food, but my music is fusion as fuck. It's part of my friend. So,
all right. So stay motivated. And how do you stay? Because it seems like you're putting out music every other day. I mean,
I try to. I have 6 songs I can toss right now, and as we speak, I'm literally working on one right now. I don't. It's not a motive. It's not a question of motivation. Like I said, it's a diary. It's like, what motivates you to like do your diary? Okay, anger, I guess, boredom, and like sadness. Like, I get these emotions, and I'm just sit here, and life is what it is. Well, I have a limited amount of things I can do, so it's like, well, music, and I just kind of always boil down to music. I don't really need to be motivated. It's what I like to do. So they say do what you love, and you'll be happy. But I'd rather be shot than be forced to do anything I don't like. So I guess rebellious, yeah, because I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid. I play what I want when I want, and I love the freedom of being free, and music like offers me that.
Well, it sounds like your message is coming through clear, because one of the audience members says that your message sounds like when you do what you love because you love it without expectation, you find joy and purpose.
Yeah, it's like you don't gotta. Yeah,
we're done here.
Oh yeah, I'm on, and there it is. Yeah, well, I get it. Like you got to threaten me with a good time.
That's a hard thing to do. I like
it is.
I like that you've reduced. So this is going to sound kind of contradictory, but the fact that you've reduced your outlet to sucking kind of opens the door for you to do whatever you want.
Who cares?
Which is kind of liberating in a way. What do you think about that?
That's how I feel about it. Like I made the decision a long time ago. I was like, if I post these, think about it. A lot of people probably play music and they don't ever post it because you're chicken shit. You're afraid of what people are going to say. You're afraid of rejection. And, guess what? You're going to get it. People are going to say you suck. People aren't going to be interested in your music, and that's okay. That's okay. Not everybody likes sushi. Not everybody likes creamed corn. In fact, who does like creamed corn? I'm sure there's somebody. But that's the spice of life, is variety. And it's like music is so vast, you can pick through everything. You don't just have to listen to me. There's a million other fuckos out there making cool shit. So once you realize, like, who cares? It's like, just do it. You might, even if nobody watches you, or you don't get a million views, or you don't get monetized, just remind yourself that's not what you're there for. Yeah. I'm just happy making music. And if other people get a kick out of it, then fuck, then yeah,
So, okay. Well, then what advice would you give to artists who are just starting their journey in this music industry? What would you tell them?
Quantity, not quality. Bang them out. bang them out. Like I said, those beautiful moments. You know, you'll be up at 2:30 in the morning. You'll make some lick as an artist. You know this one. You're like, oh man, that was sick. Now get out your recording equipment and run it back. You know, now record everything. Crank out song after song. If it's silly, that's okay. You know, now how do you feel? You know, if you want to be a musician, well, guess what? You're putting yourself out there for people to look at. That's what a musician is I'm going to try to entertain you with some music. You know, just crank it out. Just do it. You know, put yourself out there. The worst, you know, it's like with a chick. I just asked a chick out on a date the other day. She said no. Okay. You know, this music's like the same way. You know, you're like, just do it. Worst thing that could happen is that you don't get rich and famous, but do you really want to be rich and famous, or are you just trying to play some music? You know, think about what you want. If you really want to be famous, you know, you can buy views and you can get bots and you can, you know, play the type of music that the masses want to hear. You know, I could program some stuff. I could program some like, oh, we went out to the party and we were smoking and we were drinking.
That was you. Somehow you're frozen, and that was the hit that will never be, because you froze right there. That's unfortunate. So I'm gonna wait for you to come back, and oddly enough, that little bit of melody is just kind of lingering in my head. There you are. You're on mute. We are having technical difficulties at this moment.
That's Pappy. He's got.
Man, that was, and that's funny because, you know, I think if you put some auto-tune on there and a simple trashy little beat behind it, maybe got some 15, 20-year-old singer, you know.
I know what people want to hear because it's what's on the radio. You know, I know what people like to drink. They want high fructose corn. It's like sugary overload bullshit. I can't do it. I can't do it. The freedom of music. It's like, why would you box yourself into a genre? What do? I play metal. Just metal? Metal. So if I come to your house and I have to hear metal and nothing but metal, just metal. Like, you ever heard of this guy, maybe, or that, you know? I mean, I'll listen to Japanese Kyoto music. You know, if it has a feeling, I don't give a crap what genre. So music is, you smack a couple of rocks together. If it sounds dope, I'm in. So.
Okay, so that's funny. Someone in the comment is they're resounding your song. Ooh, we went to the party and we were smoking and we were drinking. Yeah,
you know,
it's already, man, it's already making waves. So, what are some lessons learned now that you look back at life, at, you know, being a son, being an adopted son, being someone who has gone through cultural diversity? Being picked on, and then being on the opposite side of picking on someone, making music and all of this. So what are your lessons learned? Because that's a lot there.
My lesson learned at 45 years old, and the hardest thing about my life has been my father getting Parkinson's. Parkinson's support, I'll tell you what, it's a horrible, horrible, awful disease. It's caused by it's man-made. It's by exposure to chemicals that we've created. That's been the toughest thing about everything. But my dad taught me a whole lot of things, and I'll tell you, the biggest thing that I know that helps me function is that no matter how small it is, no act of kindness is ever wasted, ever. Be that person that jumps out of your fucking car and helps the old lady with the shit. Be that person that says, hey, how you doing, to people. Be that guy. See, I'm not so rebellious. I just look like this, but looking like this, living where I live, you got to be real nice to these white folks out here. So treat people the way you want to be treated, I say. The golden rule is a good one. When it comes to your art or your passion, if you enjoy doing something and you just like want to do it, for God's sake, don't let anybody stop you from doing that. You know, and people will try. Crabs in a bucket. You know, I've known people out there, it's not a song I can make that they will ever respect. It's like, well, I don't know, man. It sounds kind of whack. So, well, let me hear your music. Well, I don't make music. Then shut the hell up. So follow your passion. Just be kind and nice to everybody. And, you know, self-esteem is always a problem, I think, for lots of people. But then there's that line. There's nothing worse than being too proud of yourself, I think. I think it's gross. What is that? Hubris? You know, and someone's just like, I'm the shit. And I'm like, are you? Really, though? The fact that you would say that you are tells me you're not. So, I don't know, dude. Just, like, do it. Try to find something that you really enjoy. And I mean, we all know what that is. It's not hard to find it, but I think sometimes it's hard to like dive in it. And you know, by creating music and putting myself out there, I felt like I dove in it, and I don't care what people think. And if you can't get to that point, you're not really free. So if you love doing something, do it, and do it with all your heart, and you'll probably be good at it. Or even if you're not, at least you're happy, you know. So yeah, you can't please everybody all the time, you know. So worry about making yourself happy so that you can make other people happy too. Yeah. Spend time doing things you love. That's it.
That's well said, sir. So what are you doing today? Where are you at today now? How do people connect with you? How do we find you? How does anybody go to find DJ Birdsong?
Shit, I'm on YouTube, DJ Birdsong. I'm on this puppy, DJ Birdsong. If they know you, you know where I'm at. I'm around, you know. Today I'm going to be working on some music. Like it's 100 degrees plus out here where I live, California. I'm in between Tahoe and Sacramento. And I will be sitting here and I will be playing some beats on this pup, and I run it through that thing. See, this is my elaborate that's the setup. It's really rudimentary. But it's 100 some degrees outside. I'll be in here banging on this stuff till I, you know, post another song in an hour here. That's what I do.
I appreciate being here. What you do is it's really something to be heard, and I hope and I encourage people to go and look for your music and just kind of scroll through the elaborate library that you've provided people. So before we end this, DJ Birdsong, is there anything else you want to get out? Anything you want to share with us? Any last things to be said?
Yeah, this guy right here, Jonathan Music, huge inspiration for me. We found each other years and years ago on YouTube randomly. I will say this, YouTube once in a while will give you these tiny little algorithms, and it's like, this guy's got six subscribers, 48 songs, you know, he's out there, he's doing 6 views. You don't know. You don't know just because he's not got a bajillion views and like, you know, a gold chain with like some booty slapping in the toenail, you know, and money, guns. There's people out there making beautiful music. So yeah, go check them out. And you're one of them. You've been an inspiration to me. You know, yeah, that's right, bro. People are sleeping on us, man. They're sleeping on us. So yeah, check out those weird, nonsensical little tiny pages on YouTube, and you'll probably be surprised. That's where the good stuff's at, if you ask me. It's down underneath the dirt. Yeah.
Well, hey man, this was a good time, and I'm really glad that you carved a little bit of your time out to come talk to me.
Well, yeah, super busy, super busy. Not really.
Okay.
All right. Well, hey, man, I don't know what else to say. I mean, thank you so much for doing this, and you know, I'll be talking to you tomorrow. We gotta do a collab on some songs. I'm having a problem sending you beats, as we figured out. Maybe I'll finally have to buy a computer, but with the 20.
We will.
I might have to mail you like my beats. I'm pretty behind the times.
On it.
All right, brother. Well, thank you for doing this, man. I appreciate it.
Excellent work. We'll see you later. All right. Well, DJ Birdsong has left the chat, so I have more. I have more to offer, and we're not done yet. I want to call out a very special guest here. We'll see. And there's my beautiful wife, Taylor.
Hi.
What did you think of that?
Oh, that was such a great interview. Hopefully it won't be, maybe shut off the sound there. There we go. Hopefully it's not too, like, the noise. I'm not sure. But, yeah, that was a fantastic interview. Can everyone hear us okay? Hopefully you can hear us okay. No echo?
There's a little bit of an echo, but That's because we're literally 15 feet away from one another.
Okay,
Learn-
I'm just
learn-
gonna. Well, hopefully there's not too much of an echo, but I thought that interview was fantastic. I was over here jotting down notes because it was so good. There were so many. I loved the way that you interviewed him and just talked about upbringing and how that plays a role in how we show up, because we do see parallels between our upbringing and how that transpires into who we become as we get older. So I'm very impressed with the interview. I love the questions you asked. I love his responses. A couple things that stood out was, the nail that sticks up is the one that gets hammered down. That's one thing that stood out to me. And I think as a parent myself, it's so important to think about which nail of your kids is standing up that you might be hammering down, but also just a couple of things around like lifestyle and how, at least for us, we're believers, as you know, babes, like it's so important to think about how God can take something that was difficult in our childhood and turn it around to be the thing that makes us great. For example, he talked about having dyslexia and not being scholastically strong, and now music has become that thing that he's strong in. So I encourage everybody, if you're growing up or you have grown up with challenges in your past, to really lean into the areas that are your strengths and how we need to play on our strengths. And I just love that you focus so much on like the family time aspect, because family time and upbringing and childhood really does make us who we are today. So really fantastic interview. Loved your layout. And I'm not just saying that because I'm your wife. I'm saying that because it was just so great to follow. So really impressive. And the last thing that I'll say is I love the whole no act of kindness is ever wasted, which reminds me, again, I'm not trying to preach to you all, but there's a scripture that talks about that. Don't grow weary in doing good. So that just like I see some of those parallels in our own faith and just how we show up in the world. We shouldn't grow. You don't have to believe in God to believe that, you shouldn't stop doing good things. So fantastic. I'm so impressed with that interview. It was really well done. And it goes to show too, the people that we might not otherwise look at to learn lessons from, we can learn from anybody. And sometimes we judge a book by its cover. He talked about how he grew up in the town that he's in and how he presents out in the world and how people might judge just looking at him. But then we hear this interview about, kindness. And so just because you look at somebody and you might not otherwise connect with them doesn't mean that you shouldn't try to. So fantastic interview.
Excellent insight. And I think, when we were working on getting started, can you hear me okay? I have my volume muted, that way there's no echo. We were both kind of nervous. He said, let's just get this over with real quick. I don't know that I have much to say that's going to be that interesting. But I was completely captivated throughout the whole of the time that we spent together. And I was watching the clock and 30 minutes came and went. And so, to honor the time, I kind of, worked towards the exit, but I could have continued talking to him a little bit longer. And I'm sure he would have had more things to say. Speaking of things to say, do you have any updates for us, Tots? What can we expect coming on the horizon?
Yes. So Jonathan Music is killing it right now. I've been so proud to see some of the new music and videography that's coming out. Tonight, Jonathan Music will be having a 9 p.m. featuring Eastern Standard Time video release of Voyage. It's off of the Wildfire catalog of music. So if you haven't checked out the albums that Wildfire Records is releasing, want to shout out to Ryan Carey with Wildfire Records. He's been instrumental. Instrumental in bringing to life the music for Jonathan Music and helping with some support and producing. So the two of them have been fantastic partners in working on a lot of this music. So definitely you want to tune in to YouTube. Go follow Jonathan on YouTube. If you do not already, subscribe. I say follow because I spend most of my time on Instagram, but go and follow Jonathan Music on YouTube so that you can catch that 9 p.m. Eastern Time release of Voyage on YouTube. Like I said, that one is one of the songs from the Wildfire Records catalog, Initial Attack album, which he was holding up the album there. So do not miss out on that release. I've already heard the song. It is definitely a bumping song. It will just put you in good vibes and good spirits and just make you feel really excited. That album was actually released in 2021. So, 2 years later, it's exciting for you to be able to like tune in, listen to that song, get good vibes. I always tell Jonathan one thing about his music is that it gives you, like if you've ever gone on YouTube and you look up like study music, his music definitely, you can dance to it, you can cry to it, and you can study to it, or just get tasks done. Sometimes I turn on his music and just clean the kitchen, and before I know it, the entire kitchen is clean and I've been put into good spirits. So you don't want to miss that. Tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern time. Check out the Jonathan Music YouTube channel. Subscribe so you don't even have to do the work of remembering. You'll just already be subscribed to the channel. You can go over to his profile here on Instagram, and the link in his bio will take you to the YouTube. So, yeah, I think those are all the Jonathan Music updates. We appreciate you all joining. I'm happy to be here as well. I thought this was an incredible interview. It really got me thinking about my own passions and how I show up and to not grow weary in doing good.
Very good. Well, there we go. That's Little Black Dots, episode number 1 with Taylor Risden and me, Jonathan Risden. Tots, why don't you send us out?
Yeah. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed Little Black Dots. And we can't wait to see you on the next interview. This was fantastic for me, and I hope it was for you all as well. So see you around.